So today we are going to talk about my experience with an interview at Google, question and answers, what was the process and everything related to it. So let's get into the video. So many of my friends and family members constantly ask me this question that how was the interview process at Google and how did I manage to get the interview? So I'm in today's video gonna break down the complete process, all the 5 stages of the interview, what the questions were asked and how it all went through and the complete timeline. So I applied at 2 places. One was at careers.google.com. I'll link it down below. And the second thing I did was I just emailed the recruiter saying that, hey, this is my resume. I'm an engineer. I also have a background in marketing. So please take a look at the resume and let me know what you think. I was not sure if they're gonna actually see my resume because a recruiter at Google gets thousands of emails every day. But in the next 7 days, I got an email from Google saying that, hey, are you available for a small call? I was surprised. I didn't even expect that. So the first round was like a general HR round. The interview or the recruiter was from Singapore. She called me. We had like a 15 minutes normal chat. She asked me like basic questions. So this role that I was being recruited for was either in Singapore or either in India. So she asked me a couple of questions that, hey, if we like you, would you be able to move to Singapore? Do you have any problems with that? Any family issues? So like basic questions. She also asked me a couple of background questions. The questions were not related to any technical or any educational background. She was not concerned about that. Her questions were more like, talk to me about the leadership qualities that you have, or talk to me about your problem solving abilities. Just very simple questions like that. She said that she's gonna talk with the hiring manager, forward my resume to her. If she likes me, then I'll go for the second interview. So the second round of interview was with a technical person. She was kind of a team lead for that department. So she gave me 2 questions to solve. One was like some analytical questions based on maths, and the second one was more like, hey, there's this cosmetic industry who has a store in Bombay and they want to open a store in Delhi. So how are you gonna drive online traffic to this new store? So that was the second question. The first question was pretty much like, hey, if the distance from place A to place B is this much and the speed is this much, like more like analytical question where you calculate like speed and stuff like that. And that was the first round on that day. And the second interview I had with her and one other manager, they were like pretty cool. The second manager was like really cool. So she asked me questions more like, what was your background? Why do you want to work with Google? My answer was like, because it's Google. And after that first round on that day, I had a second round where there were like 2 people interviewing me. They were like pretty cool. They asked me about general questions. What was your background? So you are an engineer. Why did you decide to do digital marketing? What inspires you to work at Google? Some special questions like that. I was so curious that why I was selected for that interview. It was a campaign manager / account manager role, and I was like, without any background, why was I selected for that role? And I asked them that question. So they are like, Sam, because even though you are like computer science, even though you have a computer science background, there are so many things on your resume that makes you like a team player. So after these 2 rounds, I was extremely curious to know that why did they pick my resume and why did they decide to interview me. I was extremely curious. And the reply from the hiring manager was, Sam, we do not care what education background you have. We just saw some extra stuff on your resume that made you a team player. So there was stuff like, I was part of a debate, I was part of a dance group. There were like a couple of competitions that I had won. In presentations, elocution competition, debate competition. I was also in sports. I was a skating champion. So they said that apart from being, like a topper in the college, literally that doesn't matter to us. We want someone who has abilities to be a good team player, or who can grow in a leadership quality or a leadership role. So after a couple of days, I got an email from them saying that, hey Sam, congratulations, you have cleared round 2, and now we are gonna move to round 3. Round 3 is more gonna be like a technical round. Everything we gonna ask you in this round is related to digital marketing and campaign optimization role. They also sent me a bunch of study material. It had like links to YouTube videos, some PDF documents, some extra links to like campaign optimization role interview experiences. It also talked about the process that I'm currently explaining you right now. In this third round, there was a technical manager who asked me questions like very she was like very smart, and she asked me questions like, Sam, what do you think an ad rank is? What is the difference between CPC and CPM? What is a quality score? How do you calculate a quality score? If we give you a budget of 5 grand, how are you gonna spend that? You have never been to a country like say Canada or say Africa. How do you know, or how are you going to determine what the behavioral characteristics of people there are, and how are you going to drive traffic to a particular website or a particular store? How are you going to do that? Say we give you a team of 5 people to manage, how are you going to manage that? How good are you at project management? She hammered me with like a lot of questions. It was a very quick interview, like a 20 minutes interview, but she kept asking me questions one after another, and that was like super fast. So that was my third round. One of the questions I remember that she asked me was, what are the 3 industries that Google should invest in right now? And I was like so conscious at that time that I said that Google should invest in artificial intelligence, Google should invest in like self-driving cars. I don't know what the third one I said was, but I remember saying self-driving cars at that time, which was, I believe, pretty interesting. So after the third round, I believe there were 2 more rounds that I had to go through. The fourth round was supposed to be with a team who would like just ask me questions, or like, I don't know, it was like a group chat or general discussion type of round. And the 5th one was the final round where you discuss salary and stuff. I was not able to go through the 4th and 5th round because during that time I was also dealing with my US visa. So I'd applied for my L1 visa and I got it, and I was super excited to go to US. So I had to unfortunately tell the recruiter that I cannot go through the process anymore because I'm moving to US. And when you are in US, when you are working on an L1 visa, you cannot work with any other company. So unfortunately I had to say no to Google, and then I moved to US, and that's a complete different story. Some of the things that I would like to mention about the Google's interview process was, they make sure that you are pretty comfortable. There is no formality, everything is like pretty chilled out, pretty cool. I, in my current job, work with Google all the time. I work with 3 of their teams, one team in downtown Toronto, the another one in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and the one in India. And the people there are pretty cool. I would have loved to work at Google at that time, but unfortunately I chose to go to US, which turned out pretty good. I don't want to complain. But yeah, it was a pretty good experience. Also, I would like to say that this was my interview experience. Some of my friends who had gave interview at Google, they had different experience. So do not judge Google's policy or Google's process just based on this one video. Do your own research. Sometimes they ask you questions based on situations, like they'll give you a situation, hey, this is a situation, or say your boss is lying to you, what will you do in that condition? Or your one of my friends got asked this question, that hey, there's a team of 5 members and only one person is doing the job and the 4 people are not doing anything, so what will you do in that situation? Or there's a team and there is only one person who takes the whole credit and the other 4 people don't get any credit, what will you do in that situation? So more like judging your personality, how you are, how open-minded you are you a good human being, what qualities you are you more emotional, are you more analytical? They test all these things. Also, I believe the 4th round is because the whole team wants to see if you are a good fit in that current team, which I think is a very good process, and that's how it is right now. If you want to know more about the interview process, I believe Google has a channel of its own where the recruiters talk about what the interview process is, how it is changed. They also have a video which talks about how it is changed because of this pandemic, so check that video out. Also, the interview processes for all the different roles are different, obviously, but some of the rounds, like the first 2 rounds, are extremely similar, so you can get like lot of answers on Glassdoor as well, so check that out. Apart from this, if you have any other questions or if I did not cover anything in this current video, let me know and I'll try to answer all your questions. Also follow me on Instagram, you can DM me there, ask me questions, and I'll try to answer as much as I can. Till then, stay safe.